Hello and welcome to We Never Met, the podcast where I have an interesting stranger on every single week. And today we have...
Whitney Anderson.
Yeah. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am very good.
Good.
So you do a lot of stuff. You're very...
Yeah.
Simply
I do
put,
what I can.
You do a lot. And you're very... From the looks of social media, you're very busy all the time and you have a lot of stuff going on. So can you give people like a brief description kind of what you do?
Yeah. So to kind of sum it up a little bit, I'm a graphic designer who dabbles in like illustration, hand lettering. I still like to be hands-on with art as well. So I'll do some more like drawing, painting, that kind of stuff as well.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a very brief summary.
So did you go to school for all that stuff, or did you just kind of pick it?
Yeah.
Did you pick it up from an early age though? Were you doing all this stuff already?
I loved art as a child.
Okay.
Definitely was always like coloring in my free time. I grew up in a really rural area and my brothers are way older and moved out when I was little. So
you were like kind of an only
child type thing.
Yeah.
So I would draw for fun. Always had those like art supply kits with like markers and colored pencils.
Yeah.
They like fold open, watercolors. So I had a bunch of those and just loved art when I was a little kid. Took art classes all through school.
Yeah. Were you like an independent kid then? Because you were kind of, you had to find your own fun.
I kind of was forced to be. Yeah. Between like doing yard work on the farm.
You grew up on a farm?
I did.
That's cool.
A pumpkin farm.
Oh, in Wisconsin or somewhere else?
Illinois.
Okay.
Like 2.5 hours south of Milwaukee.
Oh,
so
dang.
yeah, my parents live there still. They just stopped doing pumpkins last year.
Okay.
So
because how was it again? Kind of the age where it's hard to do pumpkins.
It's my dad's 60th birthday today.
Oh yeah! Happy birthday.
Yeah. So it's just pumpkins are large and heavy and they did like it wasn't a come and pick your pumpkin from the patch type of thing. They grew them and then would take them to farmers markets every weekend.
Wow.
So they had to like haul them onto the truck, out of the truck, like just it's a lot of work. And it was a pretty small kind of small to us. They just sold at farmers markets. They weren't doing like wholesale to big stores or anything. But yeah, it was a lot of work. So
the Little People Big World show.
Yes,
they were pumpkin farmers, weren't they?
Were they really?
I thought they were.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And
I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes.
That always seemed like a massive task. Good for you. Like that you can lug out. Like they're heavy and huge.
Yeah, it taught me a lot of like hard work. I never had to like exercise or work out when I was living there because it's just like physical labor. Yeah, taught me good work ethic, I guess, in hindsight. It was, a family thing. I was required to help out and I got allowance, I got paid and it became kind of a job as when I was older, like in high school. Okay. So like I'd be, paid for my time and
that's good.
It wasn't like go pick
go
the pumpkins.
In the fields now.
No,
I don't want to, Mom.
But it was a lot of work. So yeah,
I can imagine.
Not when I wasn't doing pumpkin stuff, I was probably being creative in some way. I made a lot of weird, I don't know, just like would glue shit together and like make little sculptures. Pipe cleaners and buttons and like make flowers and stuff. It was very kitschy, but
So when you decided to do all this stuff, were your parents like kind of iffy about it?
Oh yeah.
Because they're from like a completely different background and environment.
Yeah. I mean, when I learned what graphic design was, which was like my junior year of high school, I was like, oh my gosh, it's art that I can do for a living and not be like the starving artist. Mm-hmm. But my parents were definitely still very skeptical.
Sure.
It's
a different world.
They're both like, very blue collar jobs. Mm-hmm. The pumpkin thing was a side thing. So they both had full-time jobs other than that. They're just like my dad started it as a hobby and
how many acres was it on, by the way?
Grew out of that. It was like 2 acres. So it wasn't a lot, but
still a lot though.
A lot for enough. 3 people to do. Yeah. So yeah, they both had, other 9-to-5 jobs.
Sure.
And, yeah, they kind of were just like, we're, we love you. We care about you.
Lovingly concerned.
We don't want you to, put all this money into college and not end up with a job at the end of it. But as time went on through college, they were like, oh, okay, we can see that you're doing okay. You're explaining things and like, you're showing us that there's possibilities and jobs for graphic designers. So
because is most of the stuff you do, is it on like an iPad or something now, or some sort of like tablet thing?
Yeah. A lot of the illustration I do now is on an iPad Pro, Apple Pencil. Some things I still love, like the texture of pen or pencil or ink on paper. And then I'll just scan stuff in high res and kind of work with it and manipulate it in Photoshop. But yeah, it has definitely sped my process up to use an iPad. It's just like the ease of not having to have tracing paper and pens and pencils and erasers and blah, blah, blah. You just have this one tiny thing in your bag and like, you can be on the go all the time. I love taking it like on airplanes. It's just so easy.
Because did you learn on all that stuff? Did you learn on like sketch paper and all that stuff in school?
Yeah. So the graphic design program that I had in high school was actually she started it out my sophomore year of high school. So it was very new. Like I went to a really small private school and there wasn't we didn't have Illustrator and Photoshop. We had free programs, Inkscape and GIMP.
Sounds like a free program.
Yeah. But at the same time, same kind of ideas, just not as advanced as that stuff. But yeah, I didn't really learn the whole digital illustration thing. And that I actually picked up way, way later.
Is it harder to do on or just different?
It's just different, I think.
Yeah.
And I think depending on a certain illustrator's style or preference, there probably are some that don't like it.
Sure.
A lot of the stuff that I do, so when I do lettering for a logo or something, I prefer using the iPad just because I can get a lot cleaner lines than I could on paper. I can zoom in. I will find myself when I'm working on paper now, trying to pinch and zoom in on the paper.
Come on.
Or if I mess up, double tap to go back. And I'm
just habitually just doing it. That's funny.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that was just something, technology is in such a crazy stage right now that
it's going so quickly.
iPad drawing on iPads wasn't even a thing. iPads weren't even a thing when I started design, I guess, or they came out right after, but it wasn't used as a drawing tablet. And there were drawing tablets out there, but I think most of them weren't, you weren't actually drawing on the screen. It was just a little tablet
that you could see on your computer.
Yeah. So I don't know. I had one of those for a little bit in college, just a little cheap one. But yeah, I did two things on it. I didn't really like it that much.
Yeah, because I had a similar experience in college, even where all the stuff that we were using to because I'm a video producer, shooting and editing and stuff was irrelevant by the time I left. So I had to relearn everything, and I'm like, why did I go to school?
I feel that way all the time. I feel like I learned, there's a few reasons for this. Number one, I feel like my graphic design teacher in high school was incredible. So
it's hard to live up to those standards in college.
We actually did so she was pretty fresh out of college. She double majored in Spanish and graphic design.
Wow.
So she was teaching Spanish and graphic design. And for her curriculum, since there was she made up the graphic design program at her high school. She just made our projects were some of her college projects. So I get to college, and sophomore year of college, one of the projects was a project that I did my junior year of high school. Like same exact project. I'm like, I've done this before.
Yeah.
So yeah, that reason I felt like, you know, some of my first couple of the intro classes in college, I was like, I know all this stuff already.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's also great because I had a wonderful high school graphic design teacher. And second, I feel like I learned more
by actually doing it.
Yeah, like 6 months outside of college, having to be forced to learn real world stuff.
Right.
Than I did in like the 4 years I was in college.
I know.
And like even still, like I'm learning so much all the time.
Right.
Like I feel like I've grown so much as a designer just in the past year.
Yeah.
And like, you know, looking back on stuff, I'm like, oh, wow, I would change that because I now know these new skills or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, but it's good that I went. I don't regret it. Like, you know, whatever. Now I'm just paying for it forever. But no,
I know. I am though, for real. Yeah. Like, because I went to a private school, which is even a bigger mistake. You know, I should have just.
Don't say that. It's good.
I mean, it was a mistake for me.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fair.
But I'm not saying don't go to college. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's crazy expensive.
It is.
Like way too expensive.
It's nuts. Yeah. It's sad that like it has to be that way. Yeah. You know? Yeah. You have to be glad. There are good things about it. But yeah, they're definitely, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I needed that. But also you can't say that because if I hadn't gone,
right,
I don't know if I would have like, you know,
that whole
met
butterfly
the people
flapping its wings kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's good that I went. And like you said, I met a lot of cool people, like made connections with people that I might need later in life, you know? So
I changed a lot for sure in those 4 years. Like I would not want to be the person that I was senior year of high school.
Oh, gosh.
Still now. And I feel like college was a guiding force in helping that person get eradicated.
It's definitely like, it's a crazy 4 years because I feel like even if you're not going to college, you're just like forming your adult self. Like it's when you go from child to kind of adult,
right? Because you're at least independent.
Yeah, you have to, you know, figure out bills and taxes and like balancing work and social life and school and all these other things. So it's definitely it's good.
Yeah, for sure. So what was going back to that? What was like the first thing that you ever created as far as like drawing or illustrating that you can remember?
Gosh.
Was there something like even in high school, like maybe the first project? How is it like developed till now? Like, because your style is, I guess what I'm getting at is your style is very unique.
Sure.
Like when you see it, you're like, wow, like that, you know, it's you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very cool. And so I was wondering, is that something that developed or was that something you always had?
I definitely did not always have it. And in my in college and right out of college, so like my early 20s, which that sounds weird to say because I still feel like I'm like 5 years old. But in my early 20s, I feel like I stressed out about that a lot because I looked up to all these designers who I was like, wow, they have a style. Like they for sure have a style. I'm like, I wish I had a style. Like I felt like in college and right after, I didn't feel like my stuff looked cohesive.
Was it because you were like mimicking stuff? Like in college, I feel like you have to like do certain projects where you have to be like something.
Yeah. That could be it. I think also I have changed. My taste for like everything has changed since then. I feel like just like colors and like I get the comment a lot that like you look like your work, as in like I wear a lot of the same colors that I design in, and like I design with kind of a little bit of a vintage flair now, and like I wear a lot of vintage clothing, so kind of that vein of things, which I really feel like that is probably developed slowly over the past 2 years maybe, where things have really started to streamline, and even I can see it now. Like I feel like before I could never see it, and when people would say that they could tell something was mine, I couldn't even see it Because I'm like, you think all my stuff looks like cohesive?
Yeah.
Because I would design in random color, like the whole rainbow of colors. I would
just go nuts.
You know,
it was like
just
an LMFAO song.
Yeah, exactly.
Just splatting
just
up.
Everything.
Every color you can think of.
And like my designs, I tried to just like pack them full. So like no white space. Like everything was just like way overdone.
Why do you think that was?
I don't know.
Just you felt like it needed to be filled, otherwise you weren't getting your money's worth or something.
I guess. I'm like, oh, what else could I add? What else should I add? Like, la la la. So I feel like things were just very stuffy and like, I don't know, lots of color everywhere, lots of pattern everywhere. And like, I still will introduce those things into my work, but not on every single piece. Like, this needs everything.
Do those exist still? Those images of when you were trying to do all that stuff?
Probably.
On the internet?
I think,
or no?
Yeah, on the internet somewhere. I have a really old Behance page that probably has a lot of that stuff on it. I think
it would just be interesting to see like that compared to now.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's pretty comical. My website I've updated since then, but maybe my Instagram, if you scrolled like way back, I think I have a Facebook album that has some senior year of high school projects.
Oh, okay.
And that you definitely would be able to see like all of the color and I do like these weird splatter paint motifs on everything. Yeah, it wasn't a good look. I'm sure I thought it was a good look back cool then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've learned a lot since then. So
I mean, that was also the time though, because I look back at pictures of myself back in even early college, like freshman year, and I was wearing like bright yellow shirts and like a Cookie Monster hat.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I looked so bad.
Yeah. I had just like even looking at my closet, it was like zebra print, flower print, hot pink, hot coral, blue pants, yellow pants, red pants.
Anything
like
you could want, any color you could want.
Ooh. I had this like Aztec print pants. And I had an Aztec print backpack, and I remember I wore them together one day.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Oh my gosh. There's like a photo of that somewhere. I'm like, can that just die?
Not exist anymore,
I'm like, oh man. But it's good. Because like, you know, you need that stuff to reflect on and be like,
and be like,
I've come so far.
How terrible did I look?
Good job. Yeah.
It's all coming back. I'll save those clothes.
Yeah, it is. It's nice that everyone kind of went through that.
Yeah.
It's
hopefully.
Not,
hopefully everyone did. I was going to ask, so like, what is your process then for creating now? Like, do you just kind of chill in a room like by yourself? Do you like to go out and do like illustrations or like?
That's a great question. So coming out of the very long winter that we just had, I am so ready to just be around people right now. So yeah, I work from home. I freelance and work from home. So I'm alone most of the time.
Yeah, does that get hard, like being by yourself all day?
It does. I enjoy it. I listen to a lot of music and podcasts, and like I have my dog, so it's great. Yeah. But I do try and get to coffee shops as much as possible. In the winter, I don't really even want to go anywhere just because I don't want to drive in the snow, and terrible. I don't want to bundle up to have to go somewhere. Right. So I feel like now that the weather is nice, I love going and like working in a park or working in a coffee shop or just anywhere that people are around, even if I'm not interacting with them.
Sure.
Like I just need to be by some
around some human energy.
Now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really depends. Sometimes I feel super motivated when I can just like, you know, put headphones on, zone in on my work. Other times I need to like be around people or go to a coffee shop to feel like I have to work. Sometimes at home, I'll like go do the dishes and go do laundry and run around. So yeah, I feel like the process is different every time. And depending on what kind of project it is, like if it's an illustration project, you know, I might just take my iPad and go somewhere nice and pretty and quiet and just like work on it. I really enjoy, if I am at home, I have like a little home office studio, but if I'm just doing illustration work, I love just going in the living room, putting on some like The Office on Netflix or something, and having that as background and just cranking stuff out on the couch with the dog. So yeah.
So I guess with all the illustration stuff, how did that get started post college? Because you are, as we said, very busy and have a lot of clients now. Like, so how did that develop from graduating? Were you doing other things before this?
Yes. Yeah. So the illustration kind of grew organically. I never planned on being like an illustrator.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to work in like really structured editorial design or like work at a publication or something out of college.
Okay.
And I started working on like logos and stuff. I did a few for projects in college, and then, you know, friends or family would be like, hey, my mom has a jam company, and like, can you make a logo for it? So I started doing like freelance little designs here and there in college, after college. I feel like I wish I could remember how the illustration really started, but
did you have a legit corporate job after college, or did you just go into what you're doing now pretty much?
No.
Like freelance?
So I did senior year of college. I worked at Broadway Paper in the Third Ward. Yeah. So I was doing graphic design there. It was just like a part-time gig, so it was perfect.
Yeah.
So I did that September of my senior year through October after graduation.
Okay.
So I had something, you know, it wasn't a 9 to 5 salaried, whatever, but I figured that since I had something, I didn't need to jump at the first thing. You know, I wanted to take some time and find something that would be a good fit.
Yeah.
And then that October, after I graduated, I started doing in-house design at a like man-made diamond jewelry company in Franklin.
I actually know what that is. Yeah. I'm from Franklin.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I was there for a little over 2 years doing in-house design, and that was not like, I don't know. I realized during that time that wasn't what I wanted to do.
Sure.
So while I was there, I was designing a lot of like email blasts and blog posts and laying out the catalog. So kind of what I thought I had wanted to do while I was in college. But during that whole time, I still was doing freelance projects, logos, that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, this is what I actually want to do. Yeah. And I was able to use a little bit of like illustrations and hand lettering, like kind of scattered throughout some emails and blog posts and stuff.
Okay.
And yeah, I realized that like those 2 hours per week were like the best part of my job. And it was great. I learned so much there. I was doing a lot of photography there too, actually. And photographing diamonds is really hard.
I bet.
They're so reflective. Like it's extremely difficult. So I learned a lot about photographing diamonds and jewelry and retouching and all that, which I'm glad that I have now in my back pocket. But definitely wasn't what I wanted to be doing 40 hours a week. So yeah, through that time, over those 2 years, steadily like taking on more freelance projects in the evenings and weekends until I got to the point where I was almost working 2 full-time jobs. It felt like. So yeah, January of 2018 was when I started freelancing full-time.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Yes.
And so now it's way better, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
You're way happier.
It's still, there's just different challenges now that come with like learning how to manage everything. Yeah. But I love it. I'm like super happy with what I'm doing. Yeah.
Cause I feel like that would be the biggest thing is like, if you are like a freelancer and work at home, like when are you done? Like, you know what I mean? Because like, when do you actually decide that it's over and you can go do stuff?
Right. Yeah. And it's so weird. I like have been talking to people about this lately. That like, I never read anymore. I used to read a ton.
Okay. Yeah.
And I feel like now that I am freelancing, every time I pick up a book and I still have projects on my plate. Are you
thinking about it?
I'm like, I feel guilty. Yeah. I'm like, can I do this right now? Like, can I take an hour to like read a book?
I know.
Like, should I be working on something else? So yeah, kind of just playing with that like internal battle. And I'm like, no, I will go crazy if I work like 12 hours every day. So I need to just calm down. And,
No, I've had that problem forever. I have OCD. So like when I do stuff outside of work and like, so I do like the podcast and I do like freelance video work and stuff. I always have this inner voice in me that's like, I can't have fun. Like you have to be doing something. Like you have to be working right now because you should be. And I'm like, well, then you can never live your life.
Right. Yeah. You can like hustle and do great, like a lot of work and still have some time for yourself. And just like finding that balance has been something that I've just been learning and working on over the past couple of years. So because if you look back on your life and just you're working all the time, like it's not going to be very enjoyable. So with all this freelance work, and I guess this is going to be a stupid question, I'm just going to ask it anyways. What is the difference between hand lettering and illustration? Because I've wondered that. I know it's like obviously one has letters. And I mean that's basically it. I like to think of. So like a lot of people who aren't in the world of, you know, those things are equate hand lettering and like calligraphy all together.
Gotcha.
So I don't do calligraphy. So calligraphy is like you have the quill pen, you dip it in ink, and everything is a single stroke, I guess. So it's all in one motion. Hand lettering, I feel, is illustration, but what you're illustrating is words.
Sure.
So like you're just drawing
Sounds like
words.
I asked a really stupid question.
No. A lot of people are like, you know, I feel even weird saying like, oh, I'm a hand letterer, which is why I'm usually like, I'm a graphic designer and I do illustrating.
That kind of stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, it's essentially, you know, you're building these forms and instead of drawing an apple, you're drawing an A. So, you know, I feel like they go hand in hand. And like there are people, so I've done a couple of hand lettering workshops and people will be like, oh, I have awful handwriting. I cannot do hand lettering. And I feel like that has nothing to do with it. Because you're not just like handwriting. It's like you're drawing the letters.
Yeah, exactly. You're not writing the letters, which is very different.
For sure.
All right, on to my next stupid question.
Okay, good. That was a good stupid question. So,
No, but that's true though, because some people have really bad penmanship, but they're really talented artists.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
absolutely.
like you can draw an H better than you can write an H. You know? So what has been like the coolest experience for you with all this freelance work and stuff? You've done like really cool stuff with even like Uncle Wolfie's and like just really cool. I'm sure like meeting people is probably a cool aspect of the whole illustration game.
It's hard to even like pick one thing. I feel like the past year and a half has just been so much fun.
Has it really picked up for you recently more than usual, or has it kind of been steady?
I think so. Yeah, I feel like it has. And it's so random too. Sometimes like there was a day, I don't know, a little while back where I got like 4 new project inquiry emails in a day.
Wow.
And then like sometimes I won't get any for a week or whatever, you know, so it's so random, but I feel like the projects that I'm getting now are just bigger.
Sure.
And like I do projects like on a whole giant spectrum. Like I'll do, I recently did just a little illustration for my friend's kid's birthday party.
Okay.
So like, you know, something that's just for personal use, like wasn't going to be marketed or sold or anything. But I've also done stuff that'll be like printed on a bunch of t-shirts or like, you know, branding and packaging design that'll be dispersed all over the place. Right. So, yeah, I really like those smaller projects, but the bigger ones are obviously more well paying because it's for a large company and like, you know, they have a budget for it versus someone who's like, oh, could you just, you know, draw a chicken for my kid's birthday party? You know, which like I love doing that stuff. So I feel like that's also something that, I don't know, I feel like good design shouldn't be out of reach for anyone. Like I do work with a lot of small companies too. And like, you know, I always try and work with people like, what is your budget? Like, you know, I want to deliver you something. You know, if you can't afford whatever this is, maybe we can, you know, take this off. And so, you know, I always try and work something out with people. If it's a project that I want to work on so that I'm still paid for my time, but that they still get a good quality design. So yeah, it's all been really fun. All the experiences that I've had and connecting with other people who work in the industry. I'm actually going to a conference in the beginning of June, for, it's like a hand lettering conference, which is
I'll come there.
Amazing.
I know what you guys do now.
Yeah, it's I think it was just started like 2 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
So pretty small, but yeah, I'm very excited. A lot of the people that will be there, I've followed on Instagram for years and you know, have admired and enjoyed. So it'll be really cool to talk to some of them and do, you know, go to some talks and hear what they have to say about things. So,
because you have such like a unique style and stuff, when people come to you, are they looking for that, or are they looking for like, I don't know, just you to design something for them? You know what I mean? Because those are two different things. I feel like
I think recently, like the past year and a half, people do come to me specifically for my style, or like, you know, they'll send me a handful of screenshots of my own work and be like, I really love these things that you did. You know, I would love for my thing to be in the same vein, or like,
because I've done that.
Yeah, exactly. So when someone does come to me with something, I was just talking about this to a friend of mine, but like when you come to me with something in your mind that is nothing like anything I've ever done before, like I'm all for trying new things, right? But I'm like,
but what are you expecting?
There's a billion amazing graphic designers out there. Yeah. Contact the one that like does this.
Is closer to this.
Like, I've especially, oh my gosh, don't send me someone else's work and ask me to copy it. Like I've had people do that. Like, yes, it's great to be influenced and like, oh, I like these colors, or I like blah, blah, blah. But yeah, don't just be like, I want my logo to look like this, and send me someone else's work.
And
like,
it's also funny because they exist. The other person exists. So just talk to them.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh.
But it is flattering if people come to you because they want you to do it because they probably like you. You know?
Yeah, for the most part, you know, a lot of clients that I get are just through, like, they find me through Instagram. Yeah. Which is crazy.
Yeah,
could
you have
not have
quite an Instagram following.
That would, like, if you would have told me that a few years ago, like, yeah, I get a ton of work through Instagram. So I feel like the more that I post on there, the more clients I'll get. Yeah. Or like, you know.
Yeah, how did that happen? Not how did that happen? That sounds like really like it wasn't supposed to. No. But you know what I mean? Like, was it like was it slow, or was it just like you kind of woke up one day and you like had 10,000 followers and 15 and then like?
So actually, it was kind of like that. My senior year, so I had always kind of posted both work and my life on Instagram, but I think it was senior year of college. I woke up to a like direct message from Instagram with the like canned message that was just like, okay, so you know when you sign up for Instagram, it'll serve you a list of like suggested people to follow. Yep. So they switch those people out every 2 weeks. Okay. And got a message from Instagram like, hey, you will be on the suggested users list for the next 2 weeks. Like, if you don't want this, let us know and we'll remove you. And I was like, well, okay, this is cool.
Why would I
so
not?
I think at that time I had like 2,000 or 3,000 followers at the end of college. And in over that 2 weeks, it was like almost 10,000 new followers, which I feel like a lot of them ended up being bots like not active or just whatever. But yeah, so since college, it kind of has just grown steadily from like, I don't know, 12,000 to
19 or whatever.
Yeah. And like, there'll be small things here and there. Like if one of my designs gets reposted somewhere, I'll get like, a little burst of like 50 or 100 new followers. That stuff is really exciting. And I've done some work with Moo, the business card. They print business cards and postcards and stuff. So I've done some work with them, and when they post on their stories or on their feed, like got a few hundred from that. So it's kind of just been steadily growing, and the more work that I do for other people, it kind of just snowballs, because I'll do work for someone, they'll post about it, they'll tag me, and that, it kind of just all trickles in. It's been slowly like ramping up. So
How long have you been in Milwaukee for?
8 years. So I came here for college, graduated 4 years ago, and then have been here since then.
Because I feel like, this is just my own opinion, but I feel like you're kind of the Milwaukee Illustrator.
Oh gosh, that's so flattering. No, I feel like I'm not. I feel like there's so many others that I think of tons, that
But like, as far as your work is concerned, it just seems very like Milwaukee.
Sure.
I wouldn't say influence, because like, as you said, I guess you've been in Milwaukee while you were kind of figuring out that style.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, when you think of like Milwaukee, it's very what you kind of post. Sure. And I don't even know what that means, but it is, you know what I mean? And is there ever sort of like people that reach out to you that kind of have that same feeling, like that you are like, I don't know. Maybe it's the color tones that you use, or like even just how you draw things.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think anyone has ever explicitly told me that before.
They just think it. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I read their minds, and I know they think it. No,
I know what you're thinking, man.
But actually, most of the people I work with are not even from Milwaukee.
Oh, really?
So because of like Instagram.
Of course, yeah. And like, the internet, you can do anything.
Everything is handled, like I invoice digitally. I send them their files on a Dropbox. Like we just email back and forth and have phone calls. Like most of these people I'm never even meeting, which is crazy. Yeah. Like this job didn't even exist so long ago. And like this has made it so accessible for people to freelance. Yeah. Like I didn't think I would be here right now. Right. But yeah, I don't think people, I mean, maybe they do equate.
Do people like reach out to you though, Milwaukee? And like be like, oh my gosh, I loved your blah, blah, blah. Like, do you have people that do that?
Yeah. Which it's very strange, like very flattering. Right. It always feels very good, but I still feel like I'm a baby and have so much to learn. So when any time someone is like, I love this, I'm like, thank you.
I don't know what to say. Thank you.
It's crazy, because I'm ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm just doing what I love, and I get so excited about it. So when other people really enjoy it, I'm like, oh my God, this is the best job in the world. Like, I'm having so much fun doing what I love, and other people are getting so much enjoyment out of it too. Like, this is nuts. Like this, I feel so lucky.
Has there been a specific moment with someone like that, like interacting with someone that like really loved one of your work, or like, because you do personal stuff too, where you sell like your own illustrations and stuff?
Yeah.
Has there been any like really cool interactions?
There have been a few that when I've done like pop-ups or markets, where someone will just come up to me and be like, I've been following you for X amount of years.
Not on social media either. In real life.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. I have been following you from house to house that you've lived in.
And I've been waiting for this.
Yeah. No, but it's just always, I don't think there's one in particular. But I still just don't know what to say when that happens. Like, just thank you. But yeah, it's really cool. My boyfriend gives me shit when we go out and someone comes up to me that I've never met before and I'll be like, hi, I just wanted to say hi. I follow you on social media. And I'm like, hi, this is so weird. And my boyfriend's like, you're famous. Like, no, but
paparazzi know where you are.
This is cool. I know. It's a very, like, it makes me smile and I'm like, I don't know what to do right now.
I wouldn't know what to do either. Yeah, just thank you.
But it's still, it's very flattering. It's really awesome. And, you know, I'm just happy to be doing stuff, putting stuff out into the world. So, yeah,
because I think, and once again, this is just my opinion, but I think with how you post on Instagram and stuff, you've become like very synonymous with your illustrations. You know what I mean? And I don't know, is that common for people in like graphic designer, Illustrator to like put their like self out there too?
I think it depends. Like, everyone handles things differently. You know, I post a lot of stories of my dog sleeping. Like, I think some people have more strictly like design based accounts, and then they'll have a more personal account where they post like photos of them and their friends out for dinner or whatever.
Was that a conscious choice though? Like to do kind of to make people like,
I guess,
also kind of know who you are?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's part of freelancing is like they want to work with someone that's also a good person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This account, like the Whitney account with the, you know, 2 H's, 2 Y's, which I made when I was 18. I was like, oh, Instagram had just come out. And I was like,
could have gotten Whitney just straight up.
I tried.
Oh, you did?
It wasn't. That account, it started as just like that is my personal account.
Yeah.
And I think it always will be a personal account. It's just that these days I do post more work on it. Like I never intended for that to be kind of reason that
straddling both areas.
Like I never intended for that to be how I got clients.
Because you have your other one, Wit & Co. too, right? That's for your
So that one's more business. Like product, like all the pins and the prints and all that stuff. So that I do have a business account. I'm very bad at posting on it regularly. Yeah. But, you know, I have it
exists.
And I try to get better. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like the one that does have all the followers on it, that originally was just a personal account that I started posting more work on. Sure. So yeah, I think I will always keep it that way. I really like to take pictures of things, just like random things, you know, and like my dog and my life and like a pretty plate of food that I made, you know, the typical Instagram post. Yeah. But, and I like how that looks as a feed, just with like design work and photos together. And like, I just post what I like pretty much. Sure. And it all happens to be kind in the same colors because those are the colors that I'm drawn to. So like, I feel like my whole life is those colors. Yeah. So,
was it a slow change though? Because so when you not decided, but like when you got into more like vintage stuff or whatever, was it similar where it was like overnight, you're like, woke up, you're like, I don't like how I currently draw.
I don't think so. Cause I feel like my feed always was pretty like curated, I guess. But if you scroll like way back, I think it just has a lot more color in it. Okay. Like all different colors. Like it still looked put together. Sure. But then slowly, like as you go through the feed to more recent times, it's just more warm tones and like white and black and yellow and some red and, you know, so I think it was very gradual. Yeah, because was it the same with your illustrations? Because that's what I was going to ask. Was it just like, because that's always interesting when you kind of move or shift your kind of stylistic idea. And
was it like you were like drawing something different? You're like, actually, I kind of like that better. And then like slowly it became a thing.
I would say so.
Or were you just like done with it? You're like, I hate all this stuff.
No.
And I need to find something different.
No, I think it was a slow change. And like, I think that still is evolving. And like, if we talked a year from now, I think it would be even different. Which is just, I think, a natural part of an artist's process. Like, you grow as an artist, you change, you evolve, your tastes evolve. I didn't go to school for illustration. Like, I went for graphic design. So I just always enjoyed drawing. Yeah. And I'm not, like, I don't feel like I am a realistic, or I don't do realism illustration. Yeah. Stuff is still pretty cartoony and like flat color, not a whole lot of shading and that kind of stuff. Which I feel like that has pretty much always been the case, but I've just evolved in like playing with texture or like,
because where do you get your inspiration from? Like where do you draw that? Like, because it is a lot there. You have a lot of like food-based stuff on there, I think, and also so is it, where do you go out and like be like, oh yeah, that'd be a cool thing to draw, or like whatever?
I have piles and piles of paper that I just scribble notes on. Like, I'll have ideas of things to draw just throughout the day, and I'll be like, oh, that'd be cool, I should do that. I was recently also telling a friend that I was going through these papers, and when I did that ope drawing, it's on my Instagram, I posted it like last week. That was from a little scribble. And if you swipe through the images, it's on the last like image, just a little piece of scrap paper that I had scribbled it on. And on that same paper, it said like sunset-parrot-turtleshell. And I was like, okay, what am I talking about here? Like when you wake up from a dream and you try and like write it down and then you read it the next morning and you're like, I'm sorry, what? So
did you ever figure it out what all those words meant?
No, I don't know. I was like trying to envision what that looks like in my head.
Turtle shell.
Yeah. So inspiration just is everywhere. I'll like take notes in my phone. I'll have a folder of like things that I would like to try illustrating. I definitely do love drawing like food, plants, animals sometimes. I try and stay away from anything like humans and animals, I guess, sometimes. Because I feel like I don't want to be constrained to like proportions. And I feel like when I'm drawing food and inanimate objects, you can kind of take some artistic liberties with the proportions, especially with like plants and food, like vegetables. Like you can make a plant look like whatever you want it to look like, and it'll still look like a plant. So I feel like I've just like learned where my strong skills are and pushed them. Not that I can't draw a person, but I feel like I would need to do a lot more sketching beforehand. I couldn't just dive in with ink and like
and just
draw
go for
it.
And I guess, was there a point when you were younger that, because I feel like everyone has this point where they're doing something and they're like, oh, this is actually fun, like I'm actually kind of good at this, or because I'm a terrible artist, like I'm really bad at drawing. Like that's good that not everyone is a good artist, because otherwise I wouldn't have a job. So. Yeah, no, it's really bad. But was there a point where you're just like, oh yeah, this is something that I could do? Like,
yeah, I think it's been that way all along for me. And like, I wanted to do it as a job probably since I was young, but didn't realize how
to do it.
How that would manifest itself, or like what that even would look like. Honestly, I feel like I discovered graphic design before I even started thinking about my future. Like, I don't know. I never remember in high school being like, oh no, I have to figure out what I want to do in college. Yeah. Like, I feel like it came at a time where I wasn't really thinking about my future yet. I just was, picking pumpkins and doing kid stuff.
Yeah.
Thinking about the prom.
doing kid stuff. Picking pumpkins, just like all the kids do.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like I was very fortunate to find what I was passionate about at a very young age. Like,
without even really knowing.
Yeah. I know that going to college, like making a kid, an 18-year-old, choose what they want to do for the rest of their life.
When their brain's not even developed yet.
18, like that's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
So I feel super fortunate that I did know and like went through college and still loved it. And, like I know that there are so many people who like aren't sure or like think they want something and then start going to school and then they're like, nope.
Ooh, this sucks actually.
And like end up going to school for like 8 years because you got to
they did like 12
switch
majors.
everything and nothing transfers and like, so I feel super lucky, but it was like really early on. I feel like that I didn't know that it was going to be graphic design exactly, but
what was it about it though? Because I remember when I was younger, I used to film videos on like a VHS camcorder just for fun. Like I would film my brother like snowboarding and falling down a hill or something, or like basketball shots, or something like just this dumb comedy skits. Like we did the Blair Witch Project when I was younger. We would try to remake that. Didn't even see it, so I don't even really know. It's probably not close.
We didn't even see it, but we remade it.
We were like 6th grade. It was like, that's cool.
Oh yeah.
But what was it about like it, like drawing and like illustrating and all that like drew you to it, like, and kept you there?
I don't know.
Did it like, were you like expressing yourself?
Yeah, it was just like happy and relaxing. Like I just got really excited about like making things like and seeing them. Like we did I think it was a vitamin, like we had to design labels and boxes for vitamins in high school. And that was like one of my favorite projects. Yeah. And just thinking about the fact, we could like mock them up and like print it out, put it on a bottle and like fold the box up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to have my stuff on shelves someday that people buy and take home. Like that is so cool. Right. That like I made that. And like, what if I could do that? Like that's insane. That's so incredible. And like every time, even at that age, like going into a grocery store and just noticing like packaging that was really pretty, like, oh, I want to do that. Like that's so cool. So I feel like, just the excitement of like other people having this thing that I made.
Their life too. Like that's cool.
Like, and for stuff like that's mass produced, like, you don't know who designed every label in your pantry, but like just the fact that it's like a little secret that I have that I'm like, I made that thing that's in your house. Like that's so cool. Yeah. And it's still, something that I geek out about, even on a small scale, like those little Milwaukee pennant pins that I made. I saw those, I'll like see them on strangers out and about, and I'm just like, oh my god, I made that. Like that's do you so stop cool. Them? No. Excuse me, sir. Oh no. Yeah. But just like, and that's the thing that like it's a secret. Like they don't know who I am. Like I said that so weird. It's a secret. It's a secret.
They'll never know.
They'll never know. It's me. But just that, like, I feel like that excitement was what really was like, I want to do this.
Right. And you're still doing that now because as we talked about with like Uncle Wolfie's and stuff, there's still stuff around. Like you can go in. There's millions of people walking through those doors. Millions, I tell you. It's every Saturday. There are 1 million people in there. I promise. At least 1 million. It's so good. They're wonderful. And the food is amazing. But I have loved doing stuff with them too. Like they're such amazing people. And like, I feel so lucky that they wanted me to do work with them. Like such good friends and like just good people. And like the fact that I get to do work that, so many people
see. And like,
and they won't know.
Exactly. It's my secret. Yeah. It's great.
But that has to be like a really cool, overwhelming feeling though. Especially when you're there, because I'm sure you go to these places, right? And you sit down and you're like
sitting there like creeping in a corner, just like smiling at everyone. Like I made that.
What's that girl over there doing?
I made that.
Oh, don't worry.
Yeah.
It's a secret.
It's a secret. God, that's a secret.
Yeah. So what projects are you doing like more recently? Like what have you been up to now?
What am I up to right now?
Besides, or that you can actually talk about, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like right now I'm doing a lot of just like a smaller one-off illustration projects.
Yeah. Yeah.
What am I working on right now?
I want to talk about the pins too.
Oh yeah.
How do those come about? Like, how do you get pins made? First of all,
there's like, okay, so that's one question that I get asked all the time. I have a couple of places that I like going to.
Got a couple of pin guys.
So thestudio.com and qualitylapelpins.com, which like very, very good name, very good URL. But yeah, if you go and just Google custom enamel pins, there are like a billion search results. It really just depends on, like, some places have smaller minimums, larger minimums, like quicker shipping times. You know, it just takes a little research to figure out what fits your needs best. But that started in 2016. I actually like started the Whit & Co. Like physical products, pins and art prints. And I think just that like physical thing that I can hold that I made. Because up to that point, I hadn't made a lot of like designs that had manifested in a physical way. Like I was doing a lot of logos or, you know, things that you see in the corner of a website or blah, blah, blah. But I wanted to just create something for myself, like for other people. That, you know, and also it's a source of income. Like, I can design whatever I want. Right. And hopefully other people like it and will buy it. And, you know.
Otherwise, they'll just be stuck with pins.
Yeah, 100 Milwaukee pins.
But there's other stuff like there's like the hat that you're wearing now is a pin, kind of like
it is. Yeah. So they kind of just all have been pins that I want to own. I'm like, I hope other people like these. Is
that kind of what you do with your personal stuff? Is it like, I kind of like this and I just hope other people, and then they do?
Yeah. Sometimes. I mean, there is some designs that sell better than others, but pretty much anything that I make for Whit & Co. are just ideas that I have, like sunset-parrot-turtleshell, and
coming to us. There we are.
That's the next print, next art, or next enamel pin.
I would love that. All combined in one.
Sunset-parrot-turtleshell. It'll be there. Just ideas that I have that I'm like, I want to see what this looks like. Right. And, you know, some things don't make the cut, and some things do. And, you know, I'm also really bad about releasing things consistently because it's just, it takes the back burner kind of like it's my side project. Like it's just for me. Like it, you know, I do it for fun. I do it because I love to make those physical products. But you know, if I have client work, that stuff comes first, and then I'll make new designs when I have the time. Yeah. So
are you one of those people that has a lot of ideas that you just constantly have ideas and want to do more and more stuff?
I wish there were more hours in the day. Yeah. Like especially when I get so excited about things, I'll just like stay up super late to like try and make it happen because I want to see the completed piece. Yeah. Just like, what
are some ideas though that never made it? Like what are some ideas you had that just like
sunset parrot turtle
that's coming. All right.
I don't know. I had quite a few. Yeah. So one of the things that I kind of have fizzled out is greeting cards. Oh yeah. I used to have a lot of designs. I feel like I just overdid it way too much at once. Like when I first started Whit & Co. and like opened up an online shop. Yeah. I had like 20 greeting card designs.
Like the new Hallmark. You're like just cranking them out.
And like, oh my gosh, it was I don't know. It was a lot to keep track of like inventory and keep track of what I had of what. And
it's just a lot of options too for people. Yeah.
So, and I may bring back greeting cards at some point and just have like a couple birthday ones, a couple like any occasion ones. But yeah, that's one thing that I just realized. I'm like, this isn't, and also it's a pretty low profit margin. Like a greeting card is like $4 or $5 for the consumer. And like, it's a lot of physical labor to do that. Like I'd rather sell an art print at like $15 or $20 than a greeting card. And there's so many, I mean, there's a lot of art prints out there too, but there are so many greeting card designs out there.
Oh yeah.
That like, I don't know. For me, I decided that that was something that I didn't really want to do anymore right now. Just as kind of like a big one that I, you know, didn't make the cut. It was there for a while and it wasn't working. So I just like sold all my inventory of greeting cards and haven't made any more.
Well, the thing about greeting cards too, and I don't know if you feel about them this way, they're not permanent. You know what I mean? So it's like literally I'm making something that someone's eventually going to throw away.
Yeah. Which also is a good thing. Like an enamel pin or an art print, like people might buy other designs later on, but like greeting cards are something that people will continue to buy over and over because they get one, they use it. They get one, they use it. Yeah. They got to greet. They got a lot of people to greet.
Yeah. Keeps coming.
So yeah, that's like, you know, one of those business things that like you're going to get repeat customers because people need is a more renewable resource. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it just maybe at some point I will start that again at Christmas time. Usually I put out some new like greeting card designs. So we'll see. Yeah. I'll keep my options open. But
if you have a really good greeting card idea, you know, is there a favorite project that you have like that you've done?
Yeah.
Which one?
So in November I finished, helping Emma rebrand her skincare company, The Sunday Standard.
Okay.
So it used to be Flora Botanical Skincare, and she wanted to rebrand.
Where's this company located? Or where's she?
Here.
Oh, here. Okay.
I think she has a home and studio in River West, I think. Okay. So yeah, very local. There are a few local shops that carry her stuff, Orange and Blue Co. And I think Ursa carries her stuff. And then she does like markets and pop-ups and stuff. But it was so funny how I like started working with her. I'd been following her on Instagram and she posted this thing like, is anyone willing to take a survey about, you know, just have a few minutes to take a survey. So I did it, went on Google, the like Google form, and it was like, what do you think about these 3 names? What do you think about these 3 colors? What do you think about blah, blah, blah? Like, what does it make you think of? So I messaged her and I was like, are you rebranding? Yeah. Like, you know, that's kind of what this seems like. Yeah. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, like, are you doing it yourself? Who are you working with? And she was doing it herself. And I was like, can I help you? Like, can I work with you on this? Cause she's in the creative field. She's not a graphic designer, but you know, she has a good eye. She likes what she likes. And, you know, so we started working together on this project because I had been wanting to do more like full packaging, like branding and packaging projects. So in the end, we ended up doing like her logo and stuff, and then we did labels and boxes and
you ran the gamut with that stuff,
and tissue paper, like everything. And that was, I felt like the first project that I had just been like in control of, I guess. I mean, she obviously had a say in everything, but yeah, she trusted me to, you know, do my thing and, you know, kind of made some tweaks along the way to feel more aligned with her because her brand is a reflection of herself. But yeah, that was probably the most fun project to date. Just being able to work with someone who had, and like, that's the thing. She had like a vision, I guess, or like I never felt like she was guiding me in a certain way, but she provided like enough info up front that I could see a direction that she wanted to take. And then she kind of just let me run with it. And that was like such a beautiful working relationship because like, just having someone who trusted me and like gave me some ideas up front, but then also just like let me go with it.
Instead of
run into the microphone.
Really put an exclamation point on it. So where can people find out more about you, what you do, contact you if they want to work with you? So I have a website. There's not a lot on it right now, but I'm working on it. Whitand.co. So WITAND.co. Okay.
And my Instagram, work Instagram is the same, Whit and Co. And then, email, you can like send me a contact. There's a contact form on my website. My email is on my Instagram page too. So people will send me DMs and I just automatically tell people like, here's my email, please email me. Like I can then flag it. Like if you DM me, I just, it'll get lost
or you don't get them at all,
it'll just go in the like other tab and then disappear forever. But so email is best.
Email is best. And what's your email again?
hello@whitand.co.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. You got the .co. That's nice. Now you can get like .ninja and stuff. Like you can do anything you want.
It all like it's very compact. Like Whit and Co. My website is whitand.co. Like, but I feel like a lot of people when they're emailing me, because emails are always like .com.
Yeah, sure.
People will be like, "Oh, did you get my email?" I'm like, "No, but did you put an M on the end?" So usually when I send people my email, I'm like, "It's hello@whitand.co." No M on the end. Like make sure you don't put an M on the end. Otherwise I won't get it.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
This is great.